walked across the street, waiting. You know, let's use our common sense. We know what he's waiting for. He's waiting to be called over. He's waiting to be called over to jump the line and not have to wait like all the sheep on the other side. So you're gonna see the cop use his flashlight to signal him to come over and pull into pump number one, bypassing the 3 hour wait on the other side of the block. Nobody's the wiser. You see, we all trust the NYPD and our public officials and anybody in a suit or a uniform to do the right thing, but this is how it really is. You know, you got to sit in your car for hours waiting to get gas, but you know, if you got enough money or you know the right people, you don't gotta wait. In your car, you know, every now and then to stay warm, and then you're not even guaranteed if you're gonna get gas, and then you might not even make it home. And that's gonna be somebody's reality tonight, because little do they know on the other end you have the NYPD that are supposed to be there to keep order. You know, making side deals with people from Pennsylvania now. See, there's Pennsylvania plate. Making side deals with them to skip the line and get gas. You know, these cops are making money off of this crisis. They ain't doing this out the goodness of their heart. That's a Connecticut plate, got a Pennsylvania plate across the street, and people that live here in New York City can't get gas. See? It's calling somebody else in. You see that white truck across the street? This is a totally separate line from the line that everybody else has to wait in. You lined up at the Pathmark or the Costco's or the BJ's, wherever you buy food from, they'll have you lined up like sheep on one end, and then around the corner they're filling up their trunks with all the chicken and steak and rice and vegetables and fruit and everything like that. And by the time you get inside the store, you'll be lucky if you get a can of beans. That's how it's gonna be. You watch. When you're good, peace prize winning Barack Obama, when he declares war and goes to war with Iran and they close the Strait of Hormuz, and then like right now what you're seeing is artificial gas scarcity. This is all a beta test. Gas is not really this scarce. If they wanted every single gas station to have gas, they would all have gas. But they're testing us. How much will we deal with? How much will we put up with? Will we really follow these ridiculous rules? Will we really have comply with gas rationing, where if your plate has an even number, you can get gas on this day. If your car has a license plate has a odd number, you'll get gas on another day. Will you really go along with that? And it turns out that people will go along with anything.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to GGN. Today is Monday, November 12th, 2012, and I'm Darko. I'm going to just continue here talking about what's going on in post-Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey, New York area, because they pretty much just forgot about them and left them there. So, man hit by cop car billed for damage. I've covered this before. It's an older story, but it's back in the news, and it follows quite nicely the story that I just covered. A man who suffered leg and wrist injuries after being hit by a police car while crossing a street in New York City was astounded to receive a bill for almost $1,000 to cover the cost of repairs to the car. Yeah, so the guy says that the bill was retribution for the lawsuit. That's what he believes. And we were covering last week about how these FEMA camps reports are coming out that they're starting to look really like FEMA camps, like concentration camps. Description of situation inside a FEMA camp. This is from Reuters, November 12th. Inside the giant billowy white tents, massive lights glare down from the ceiling all night long. The air is loud with the buzz of generators pumping out power. The post-storm housing, a refugee camp on the grounds of the Monmouth Park racetrack, is in lockdown with security guards at every door, including the showers. I wonder if they have cameras in the showers like schools now. No one is allowed to go anywhere without showing their IDs, even to, let's see your papers, right? Even to use the bathroom, you have to show your badge, it says here, whose rental was washed away. New Jersey, the mini city has no cigarettes, no books, no magazines, no board games, no TVs, and no newspapers or radios. And on Friday night, in front of the mess hall, which was serving fried chicken out of the box, just add water, potatoes, a child was dancing and dancing to nothing. We're starting to lose it, said DeCamp, but we have nowhere else to go. says power workers from out of state who are helping utilities restore electricity to the area were starting to bed down in Tent City. Says some empty vodka bottles appeared on the muddy street. And I was actually wondering, are these the union workers or are these the volunteers that were turned away? Says there are now far more men than women or children, and the women said it was impossible not to notice the leering of some men. I've heard about the rapist out there too. So, and you know, out there they're big anti-gun people, so kind of sucks. Can't defend yourself, especially if you're in those camps. If they're being run the way they're being described, there's no freaking way they're going to allow people to carry firearms and defend themselves. But then again, those type of people probably wouldn't be in those stupid-ass camps to begin with, right? Camp FEMA update says, we feel like we're in a concentration camp. It says, though details are scarce and the media coverage has been completely restricted by officials, the stories of what victims of the Hurricane Sandy are experiencing at the hands of FEMA have begun to emerge. So they're calling these things tent cities. And remember, the borough president of Staten Island, along with residents, have some choice words to describe how FEMA and the Red Cross have completely failed at their jobs. Via the Daily Sheeple, made an announcement that they were sending us to permanent structures up here that had just been redone. They had washing machines and hot showers, steady electric, and then they sent us to Tent City. We got effed. Says the information blackout is one reason. Outside of the tightly guarded community on Friday, word was spreading that the Department of Human Services would aim to remove residents to the racetrack clubhouse on Saturday. So it goes on and it says that, but inside Tent City, which has room for thousands, but was only sheltering a couple hundred on Friday, no one had heard anything about a move or anything else. They treated us like we were prisoners, said Ashley Sabel, 21, of New Jersey. It's bad to say, but we honestly feel like we're in concentration camps. New York officials are reportedly considering closed prisons for displaced Sandy victims. They're now eyeing a recently closed prison as a temporary housing structure for people displaced by Superstorm Sandy, as this week's blah, 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 right? Just remember, I've talked about Walmarts being used as FEMA camps. It's been used in the media, I think, like I mentioned before, that Jericho show. They talk about it, that they were horrible, those FEMA camps, and that they set them up in Walmart parking lots, some of them. But military installations could be used for them as well, along with now old prisons and stuff. It's interesting, it says here, one of the victims, quote, victims, weather mod victims, it's empty, they may as well use it. And he says, at least they have the right facilities. You can't keep them in schools. The kids got to go to school, right? They got to go get their brainwashing, the re-education camps, to teach them how to be good slaves, to be good prisoners, right? It's like I mentioned before, most of us are living in our own little prison cells, voluntarily. So, I mean, this wouldn't be a big deal for people to just go into prison cells and live in an emergency situation. Workers pay same tax rate as the rich. So despite common misconception that the wealthy Americans pay more taxes, average low-income workers in the United States actually pay about the same percentage in taxes as the very rich, says the founder of the U.S. Against Greed in Chicago. An average low-income person in the U.S. pays just about the same percentage as the very rich person. Actually, when we get up into the multimillionaires, the billionaires, their tax rates come down because they're paying much less in taxes because of capital gains. He added that corporations who are supposed to be paying 35% taxes are only paying 10%. A study from October revealed that the income share of the top 1% grew rapidly after 1980 from 10% in 81 to 23% in 2007, an increase of 135 percentage points. Then we have the distribution of economic pain from the financial crisis in one chart. So they blame it on policy and tax decisions, i.e. not taxing them and taxing the lower income, but also financial bubbles are often wealth transfer mechanisms. And links will be posted in YouTube's video description. Go in there and check out those charts. Next up, Obama says the wealthy must pay more in taxes, but he wants to extend tax cuts for everyone else. And this is what this whole fiscal tax cliff that they're talking about, this is what it's about. It's about, it's like 2 or 3 different tax cuts that are expiring. So this is all the results of government. It would have been it's postponing the inevitable, right? So that's what they want to do now. They just want to postpone the inevitable again with more debt, most likely. And cute little word games that Republicans can play along with Democrats. But basically what it is that they're going to tax, or they're going to let people that are millionaires that create most of the jobs, they're going to let those tax cuts expire, and then the same a-holes, the billionaires and stuff like that, that got really rich recently and over the last 30 years, they're going to continue to not pay as much tax. So